Welcome to another episode. Hold on. Welcome to another to welcome to another episode of the 241 podcast. I went through like the metabolism men intro, and then I started like stuttering, but we're here. I am Jamin.
I'm Jordani.
And it's been a little bit, but we come with an important topic to discuss. I think I said we would do a playoff prediction episode. We never did.
That's besides the point.
That's besides the point. But nonetheless, we are here to discuss the most important, time of the year if you're a basketball fan, the NBA Finals, especially if you are either a Pacers or a Thunder fan, So this is going to be Halliburton, yeah.
With the Halliburton?
Yeah, we're going to talk about him for sure. But first of all, how are you?
I'm doing excellent. Been a busy week so far. We chilling. We here. Talk about basketball. One of the best sports in the world. It's getting spicy. It's been real spicy. These have been some amazing playoffs. I've been enjoying every game I've watched.
They really have. I gotta ask, like that you mentioned that up until this moment, what has been your, I don't know, like favorite moment in the playoffs?
Oh, easily
so far.
Easily that Halliburton shot. It's easy, bro. That whole comeback was one of the craziest things I've witnessed. I was literally speechless. And then when he hit that shot, hit the choke, it was perfect. I really wish I was a game winner. Yeah. Either way, it still works. It still is like, they still choked, but if that was a game winner, it would have been the cherry on top. But easily that shot. I was literally in awe, speechless. Shout out to Pacers. Here they are.
Shout out to the Pacers, man. Yeah, my moment, I mean, obviously there's a lot of stuff from OKC to rave about. I feel like I'd be cheating if I just, because I would just say the entire run up until this moment. So I'll actually give you two answers to a question that you never asked me. My OKC like favorite moment of the playoffs, especially when it comes to while the game was actually going, because I was gonna say the like entire ceremony of them, like putting on the hats and Shea, celebrating and whatnot. But my favorite OKC moment, I think I will say probably the game 7 against Denver. Because I was a nervous wreck. And I was at a point where I'm just like, hey, if we lose, we lose. And I was prepared for a loss. And that's how it's like what MJ said in Spider-Man Homecoming, where I think it was No Way Home actually, where it was like if you expect, I don't know, disappointment, you can't get disappointed or something.
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing. I was fully prepared for that. And I was really proud of this, young team and how we responded. That was just like I was thinking about, and I've seen, a bunch of people talk about this as well. That entire game 7, well, actually, that entire like series in general was like showing how much that team is, I guess, just like grown up.
Yeah.
Because if we had that exact same series like last year, we would have lost in like I'll say 5. But the way that we responded, the way that we guarded Jokic, but like the way that we responded to, especially when we were down 2-1 in Denver, and we won that game, and that was scary. Like again, I don't think that team would have won that like last year. So I'm, a lot of people are saying, oh well, like Jokic and a hobbled like MPJ and a hobbled Gordon, and then I don't know, like a sick Murray, they took this team to 7. And I'm not taking any credit away like from Denver, but
yeah,
I feel like that was really the first time that this squad has been put in that position. And so they didn't have any experience. They were kind of just, learning on the fly. And I think that now that we've experienced that, especially playing in a game 7, where it's probably the most pressure that you'll have, unless you're like in a game 7 of the finals, but that's probably the most like pressure that you have. So for them to respond the way that they did, and for it to be like basically a blowout at that point, it definitely made that one play where like Shea is smiling at the end of game
I
three.
think it was three. Yeah.
When he was smiling, it definitely made it worth it, especially if we go on to win the championship. So, but my
Yeah.
favorite non OKC moment, um, Halliburton shots definitely up there, but you already like said that. So, um, I would probably have to go with actually it's another Pacers play when they came back down like 9 points with like half a minute to go
Yeah.
against Milwaukee, and
Oh
they
yeah.
managed to
Yeah.
win that. Because
Yeah.
dude, I wasn't home. I was just like checking a score. I saw that Milwaukee was up by like 9 or whatever. I'm just like, all right, they're extending the series. And then I refreshed the app when I got to my car and I was like, oh no way. And then I checked how it happened. I think I was just watching that play earlier today. That was when what's his name on the Bucks? Not Porter, but he was on
Who's?
he was on the Raptors. Um
Oh, Gary Trent.
Gary Trent, yeah. He was hooping. He had like all those threes, and he was like a big part of why they almost won that game. But unfortunately, he was also a big part in why they lost. Because it's like they passed him the ball went bloop, like
Oh
Doc Ock
yeah.
and
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2. He was like Butterfingers. It just he tried to catch it, it went straight through. And I was like, that's crazy. And then Halliburton hit that shot to end it. Um, I'm sure we'll probably touch on it a little bit later, but the whole overrated thing was just stupid for Halliburton.
I
It
knew
really
that the
was
moment I saw it. Like a wall people really was that.
ridiculous. And
Yeah.
I feel like it was a little blown out of proportion because like I feel like people took it a little more seriously
And they
than they
should have.
probably should have because I think about 90 people partook in the entire like voting process.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
it was. It was a relatively small number that voted
and yeah,
on the survey or whatever.
and when you crunch the numbers, I think it was like 13 or 14 people that like voted for him as overrated. And it's just like that's the whole NBA roster. Like that could have easily just been everybody on the Bucks. And look, Halliburton, he talks a lot, he makes a lot of people upset. That could have just been half of the Knicks team and half of the Bucks team. So that's just how it is. Like I can totally see that just like being the case. But nevertheless, I think he's proven that he's not overrated. I don't think he's a superstar necessarily, but I do think he's a very solid all-star. And he started this year with injuries. He had his
Yeah,
back injury. So
and yeah, I am a particular fan of Tyrese Halliburton's game
same.
because I have a certain affinity for like past first point guards, like the Chris Pauls and whatnot. Chris Paul is like one of my favorite play styles, just in just in general. Like
Yeah.
I even in real life want to play like Chris Paul because like I don't have Kyrie handles, so I'm like I'm gonna play like Chris Paul. So I have an affinity towards that. I feel like all he's missing to be a superstar is maybe defense and like a sig to be real. He needs a signature shoe. If he gets when he signed like Converse, I think he signed like Converse, New Balance, I think one of those two. But a signature, some more media exposure, and some defense. And I think he's up there, bro. I think he could be a superstar. I really enjoy Tyrese Halliburton. I don't have a single problem with him. Good dude, no controversy. So I think he could be like, like the point guard. Like when you think of the NBA, he could be the point guard of the next generation, maybe.
Yeah, I my only problem with his game is he needs to be a more consistent like
Yeah, that's
scoring
true.
threat
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
that's
yeah, that's
like I
true.
think the biggest thing that I've seen with people when they talk about oh he has like issues in his game or whatever. It's like mainly because he'll score like 25 and then maybe I don't know like 30 and then we'll have like 8.
Yeah, the
Uh,
next game. That really happened in the next series.
It did, and then we'll have like 14. And so that's my big issue with Halliburton. I mean, fortunately, I hope he does that against OKC. That'd be great. But um,
We'll get into that.
we'll get into that. But yeah, no, I really mess with Halliburton. He's always not always, but I would say since like last year, like last season when he was hitting those shots, those crazy threes against like New York in Madison Square Garden, and he's just like galloping up the court and he's talking.
Yeah,
I love it. Like people call him
yeah,
a
we're
front runner. I don't care. Like my favorite thing about Halliburton too is that he kind of just looks a little like a dork too. Like you don't like see him and think that he's like a crazy like intimidating basketball player or whatever. And he's kind of like on the skinnier side as well. So when he's out there and he's like hitting those shots and stuff like that, I know there's people on the court that want to just punch him in the face.
oh
He's
yeah.
like, but he's it's extreme. He's got like a wonky jump shot, but
His
like
jump
it
shot
goes
has to be
in.
one of the weirdest, ugliest looking ones, but he hit. It's funny because I said this during the series. I'm like, it's something funny with Tyrese Halliburton, bro. My man is either gonna hit nothing but net or miss like terribly, like literally just doing right off the rim, or it's either just going straight in. And I find that so hilarious for some reason.
It honestly reminds me of
I
yeah.
I don't know. Anytime I've seen him like do when he shoots, it's either just doing or just straight net, bro. It's hilarious.
It kind of reminds me of another guy on it who used to play like for the Pacers, Paul George. It's either go straight in or he has some of the worst misses from three that I have ever seen. There's nothing crazier than a Paul George because those are the loudest misses you
Yeah,
will
we're
ever hear. It's like bang. It's like, yo, why these misses are horrible sometimes. Um, but yeah, dude. So let's talk about the conference finals a little bit. We'll go Knicks and Pacers first. Um, I'll let you start off. For the on the Knicks side of things, well, there's actually a lot more to talk about on the Knicks side of things. But no, we'll start with Knicks because we're gonna have to talk about the Pacers more anyway, because they're in the finals. So we'll talk with the losers first. Um, with the Knicks, how do you think, like, what do you think contributed to them losing those games the most? Like, what do you think was the main factor that they need to fix? And if you want, you can even address the most recent move that they made
yeah.
in the coaching office.
I wouldn't put all the blame on anybody. I feel like it's more of a group sort of collapse because there were definitely some questionable Tibbs decisions. I will not lie. I know that a lot of people say, "Oh, he made it to the conference finals. He's been the best coach the Knicks have had in recent history. Why'd they fire him?" And it's like when everything first went down, I was in that camp, but then I realized like, no, he really is a great coach. But he definitely made questionable decisions. But at the same time, you know, the Pacers exposed them. The Pacers definitely exposed them, especially Jalen Brunson and Cat's defensive woes, because every other person that started in the lineup is a good defender. Hart's a good defender. Well, I mean, he's not great, but he's a
It's
good
good.
defender.
Yeah.
At the very least, he puts effort. He puts a lot of
Yeah.
effort in his game. OG, we already know about OG. Macau, we already know about Macau. So they just exposed. Like I remember watching most of these games. And I'm like, when they're running pick and rolls, the Pacers are trying to get either Cat on the switch or they're trying to get Brunson on the switch.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. They're like they're trying to keep the other three away, and they're just attacking Cat and Brunson, pick and roll after pick and roll, and they just kept getting exposed like that, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it was also a horrible matchup. I
Yeah,
mean, the Knicks aren't the quickest team in the NBA, and some of that is just who's on the court, but also a lot of it is the fact that those guys are probably just tired. Like
yeah,
like Tibbs will run those players like to the ground, and Indiana's probably the quickest like team in the league, I would imagine, or at least one of them, at least top two.
got to Coach
So
Carter on.
yeah, they can't keep up. I mean, I think that was like the main issue. They just could not. keep up. And I don't think and this kind of leads into the whole thing with Tibbs like getting fired as well, which happened I think what yesterday. Um,
Yeah,
his idea of like offense, like I'll give him credit. Like Tibbs is a really solid coach when it comes to defense, but and I've seen other Knicks fans like say this, his style of offense in terms of like his coaching, um, is one too reliant on Brunson, and two I just don't think is championship level. It's a
that's
little
fair.
outdated. It honestly reminds me of a not as bad version of the Harden offense when he was in Houston, where it was just
Yeah,
like dribble, 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 dribble. Um, and they got as far as the Rockets did, like minus one game.
yeah.
So, and I don't think this is a Jalen Brunson thing. He took
Mhm.
a crazy pay cut in
Yeah,
order
no.
to keep a lot of the guys and in
His
order to like
contract,
sign more people. He's only making 25 million a
his
year right now.
contract is easily probably the most team-friendly deal in the whole league for
It
the
is
quality of player you get.
25
Easily,
million. Like
easily.
there are, I'm trying to think of players. I'm sure there are a bunch of players in the league that are making significantly more than him that do not deserve. We're
Oh
talking
no,
about a guy
yeah.
that's top 10 in the league. I would say
I mean, second team, didn't he?
probably.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
believe
second team.
so. So
Nobody on the second team. Everybody on the second team probably making another 15 mil a year.
there's people on there's people on the third team that's probably
Making
making
a lot more than him, yeah. So
man, there's people who are gonna be signing their rookie contracts this year that'll or the rookie extensions this year that'll be making more than them.
I mean,
Um
but no, his rookie contract ain't up yet.
I was thinking who's available this offseason? I don't know, like Paulo maybe. I don't know if Paulo actually signed yet.
I don't
But
think he'll leave Orlando anyway. But we're getting off topic.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So no, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think getting rid of Tibbs was a good decision, a step in the right direction. There's other stuff that they need to do, but ultimately, I think the style of offense just they could not keep up with all of the shooters that like Indiana has. And
That's
I
true.
I see a lot of people they kind of like throw this word around when they're talking about Indiana, and it's ironic, like given the name of the team, but they play with an insane amount of
My
pace.
pace. Yeah.
But but yeah, so I think ultimately that's what it uh came down to.
And
And then
and
mhm,
I think that the problem that the Knicks had was that they were trying to match that pace. Because I know watching game one, when they were up as big as they were, I'm literally like, why are they taking shots like 8 seconds, 9 seconds into the shot clock?
yeah.
That you're playing Indiana's game. They want to get the ball back and just run down the floor and get a quick shot up. Why are you playing at their pace? Take the shot clock down to the last 4 seconds if you have to. Look for and get any half decent look you can get. I don't know why they were shooting so early in the shot clock, and I was sitting there the whole time just like, bro, like if you slowed down the pace, if you took down the shot clock to the last few seconds that you had available, they probably wouldn't even have the time to make the comeback that they did. So that's one of the main decisions, especially in game one, that just got me like, I don't know why they're playing it like this. They should have just played at their own pace. They fell right into the Pacers game.
And then on the flip side of things, Indiana, I mean, actually we can low key skip talking about Indiana until we talk about the actual like finals portion. But
Yeah,
to just I don't know, like briefly like talk about it, like their pace was crazy and they just have too many. I mean, they were probably number one in offense, I think, like this year. I know they were last year. They have a historically good offense.
yeah,
And they just have too many guys off their bench and obviously in the starting lineup that can just go get a bucket, especially
yeah.
when it comes to hitting those corner threes. So Indiana or New York's got some work to do with like with um with Boston presumably out of the picture for next year
Yeah.
unless Jalen Brown just goes crazy.
Plus Jalen Brown becomes Michael Jordan.
Yeah, which isn't happening
But I
unfortunately.
don't think the Knicks are too far off from being real contenders. I
That's what I'm
don't think they're
saying. Yeah,
far off at all.
especially with Indiana out or with the Celtics out. Rather, like they can easily end up in the conference finals again. So it's just a matter of like who they hire as their coach, and two, what are they going to do about their bench, and
Yeah.
just overall, just like making sure. But you know, at the end of the day, and I know a lot of Knicks fans don't really want to hear this. I don't. It's very hard to win a championship with a small guard as your best player. When you have moments where like your best player has to be taken off the floor in order to put in a guy like McBride, who's a better like defender. Um, that's tough. It worked with Curry because he can shoot from anywhere on the court. It doesn't matter how
Yeah, he was a
like
whole
physical stuff like
Curry's an
gets.
anomaly, as we all already know. Curry's
And
an
it, and
anomaly.
it worked with the original, of course, Isaiah Thomas because he played with the most like physical team ever
Yeah.
essentially.
Hmm.
But like Jalen Brunson isn't Curry as great as he is, and the Knicks aren't
Aren't the bad boys.
they aren't the bad boy Pistons. So I don't know if you're gonna win a championship with Jalen Brunson as your best player, as your 1A.
Yeah.
Especially if Karl Anthony Towns is your second best player. You can just hunt, like the both of them on defense, and it's easy every time. So Knicks got some work to do. Going to the West, the Timberwolves. Now, I thought the Timberwolves had a pretty good run in terms of, up until they went to the conference finals. But I do think it was a little overrated.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, 100%.
Like, there were times where Ant wasn't really playing that well. Randall was playing great, but, you know, there's no like big in LA. Um,
Hmm.
he was
Yeah.
kind of he was kind of cooking Draymond, but again, they played a Warriors team without Curry. Like, you
Even
know,
even with Curry there, I truly feel like the Warriors were a very overrated team in terms of like what they were gonna do in the actual playoffs. I
mhm.
really didn't think their team was that good. It was a solid team. Don't get me wrong. It's a solid team. But for them to actually be a threat, Curry healthy or not, I don't think it would have happened, to be honest.
I think that's fair. I think the Wolves would have won anyway, but I don't know. Like, just in general, the two teams that they played were just kind of mid. That LA team, like, okay, oh yeah, I forgot you're a Lakers fan. Like that, like LA team, I will give a pass because that is not the team that they originally like thought that they were going to build with. Like when the season
Yeah.
started, I will always like give them. I will give JJ Redick a pass. I'll give like LeBron a pass and Luka a pass because that wasn't the plan. Like next year is when I'm going to have to actually judge them
Yeah.
as an actual team. But as far as
Not
I'm
to
concerned,
mention,
yeah,
the whole Mark Williams failed trade. So
exactly.
realistically, they addressed what they needed, but the trade just fell through because Mark Williams is a rich cracker. Bro just cracks, like just falls apart. Like he's always hurt.
And see, that's the
So
interesting thing too, is like they were saying, like they weren't sure what was wrong with his physical, but apparently LA saw something that they just did not like. So whatever happened, I don't know. But so yeah, against OKC, most guards haven't played well. Morant had well, he only played like three,
two games?
two and a
Or was
half
it two?
games really.
Yeah.
He wasn't great in those first two. He was good in the last one that he played. Then of course he ended up getting hurt, and OKC ended up winning the game. But um, Murray probably played the best against us, I would say. But a lot of our, we had Caruso on Jokic at times. We had,
It's crazy.
like other guards on Jokic at times. I think we had like
Caruso
Dort
is so
guarding him at
crazy,
some
bro.
point. Caruso's amazing.
Caruso's such a winning player. Caruso got to be one of the most under. Wherever he goes, it's like the team becomes a winning team, bro. The Lakers won a ring with him there. When he went to Chicago, Chicago was good for him. Let's not forget, Chicago was actually
They were
good
nice.
for a little minute when Lonzo was healthy. Caruso was there. Levine and DeRozan, they were like the one
Vooch.
seed for a while. Vooch, they were a solid team when Caruso was there.
Yeah.
And then OKC, he just took them to the next level. made them even more of a defensive threat, which we'll
Yeah.
talk about later.
Um,
Shout out Caruso.
I
Top
think
five white boy. Nah, that's top 10. Top 10.
top 10.
Top 10. Top
I
10.
don't know, man. Like Timothy Chalamet, he's been on a
Yeah, or
crazy run.
my boy Lisan Al Gaib, Paul Maldi Betrayed. He put in some. He's really the chosen one.
He's been on a crazy run this year,
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, I think um Randall hardly showed up at times. And he truly struggled against it. He only had,
One game above 25, I think, like one game above
which
30.
is actually pretty consistent with how he's been playing against us in the regular season. Like we give him issues pretty
Yeah.
consistently. Like there was that blowout game where everyone was just like on fire, and then there was the game after that where he wasn't really playing well at all. It was Gnaw and who was the other guy that was hooping? Like it was the role players. I think Dante was hooping too. Oh, Dante was cooking
Yeah,
us.
Dante, yeah, he had like 20 points off the
Gosh,
bench, no?
he was cooking us.
Yeah.
I was screaming. But yeah, so it was those guys that were really, carrying their offense, and the Wolves ended up like losing. So I'm not gonna put all of this on Anthony Edwards. He's only 23 at the end of the day. I do think
I'm saying he's only 23.
I do think people need to rate him properly. And what I mean by that is when he plays well, everyone is just like, he's the face of the league.
He's the spawn of Michael Jordan.
He kills all the legends. He eliminated Bron and Luca and like Jimmy Butler and KD and Jokic. Look at him. He's the future. He's the face of the league. But then when he doesn't play well, he's only 23, guys. Let's go. It's okay. Like blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And I like Ant for basketball purposes off the court. I don't think he's the type of player now where um I would pick him to lead a team to the championship. It is not just about what he does in terms of how he plays, but his maturity level at times. He's been more mature as the years have gone on with age, but um just picking up stupid techs like when I think like Shea was on the ground and he like
Oh yeah,
tossed
you
like the
mentioned this
ball
to
on
me.
him.
Yeah, you mentioned this to me.
Like that's not crazy. Like, oh, why did he do it? It's like it's not on like Draymond stuff, but that's kind of why I think it's stupid. Because like as the star player, you can't risk like getting a technical, even just one.
Yeah.
Because then if you catch a ref that's having like a bad day or something, you can clap a little too loud. Like I think Tatum
Like
did that
Tatum,
once.
like Tatum.
They got a technical, you know. So yeah, I think Ant's great, but this loss isn't totally on him. Naz Reid, he struggled the first couple of games or so. He started to pick it
Yeah.
up towards the end, but I expected more from him. Gobert wasn't even playable at times.
Hmm.
Um, which is an issue because he's your most, I think he makes the most money out of anyone like on the team.
Yeah.
And
He traded like 5 first rounders for like four.
yeah,
Way too many first rounders.
and when I heard we were going to be playing like Randall, especially, I'm just like, I had no issues with like Randall. He played pretty well in the first half of the first game, but outside of that, like he's he has a bunch of stupid turnovers. And what is OKC good at? Making
Turning the
people turn the
ball,
ball
making
over.
people turn the ball over.
And so I kind of expected that to happen. And there were games where I'm sure he had like I think there was one game he had 5 turnovers, I believe. And then speaking of turnovers, that game set no, that game what was it 5? Yeah, you beat them at 5. That game 5 was crazy. We
Massacre.
for so many. There was a moment where they had more turnovers than field goals made,
Yeah.
which is
Didn't Shea
disgusting.
score more or like he
Yeah,
contributed more points in the first quarter than the Wolves got in the whole thing?
yeah,
Whole
yeah.
team? It's crazy.
So I just I don't know. The Wolves, hopefully they can retain their key players. Not really too worried about them. Their star players pretty young. They have other guys on the team that are on the younger side.
Hmm.
Gobert is gonna continue to be an issue as you go like deep into the playoffs. So I would say explore trading him, but no
I don't think
one's
nobody's gonna take
no one's
him.
gonna trade him. Yeah.
What I hope they
Um
don't do is trade for KD. I'll be so mad for them if they trade for KD. And I've seen that in the rumors, and I'm just like, why? The whole point is you got a young core. Why are you trading for 37-year-old Kevin Durant? Just
Yeah.
you need offense. You can find offense anywhere in the league today, bro. Like literally, literally. Do not trade for Kevin Durant, Minnesota. Do not trade for Kevin Durant.
Another thing though, they need to get a point guard who's not
Mike Conley.
300 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Conley was great, back in the day on the Grizzlies
Word.
and a little bit on Utah, but
He old
ultimately
now.
they need another playmaker. And
Very
I
true.
I wasn't too thrilled. Like Ant did a decent job at being a playmaker. He's definitely
That's
improved
not
that.
yeah, but that's not his game.
That's not a get. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
They better hope that Dillingham becomes that like young point guard that they need, or else they're gonna need to make a trade.
Yeah.
That would be priority number like one or two. Not necessarily trade Conley. I don't know how many years he has like left on his contract. It can't be much. I think he's 37 right now. So
I don't think anybody would take him either way.
no, maybe like a
Maybe like
bad
a
team.
Washington, like a
Yeah,
Washington or Utah, but who
yeah,
do you want on Utah or Washington?
yeah. Well, Utah has Clarkson.
Oh, that's true. Parsons solid.
Honestly,
Parsons solid.
if they really, all right, I'm not gonna get it, but so yeah, Minnesota's in an okay spot. Ant's gonna improve. He needed this like kind of serious in order to get better. He needs to
Yeah,
adjust to how he's because look, he can be in the playoffs again. He's probably gonna have to go through OKC again, and we're gonna play that
yeah.
same defense. We're gonna retain all of our guys, and so regardless of if we lose the finals or not, like we're gonna have all those guys still. So,
If he's
um,
gonna be like Jordan, there's gonna be his bad boys.
yeah, he needs to just learn how to score against not just OKC, but teams like OKC. And I'm sure he will. He's a good player. He's going to be in the lab, and he is a hard worker when it comes to basketball. There's a lot of things that I doubt about Anthony Edwards, but like being a hard worker isn't one of them. Being a good father, but being a
Yo,
hard
yo,
worker,
yo, chill, chill,
it's
chill,
it's hey
chill.
hey man. I'm I'm not the one that has to chill. Like, let's be real. There's other people. Anyway, we got
You
Nick
just
Cannon over there. So, hey, the Wolves will be okay. Okay, OKC. Yeah, I'm happy. Our defense was incredible. I think Chat and J-Dub had great series, especially
Yeah.
since they struggled a bit against the Nuggets, especially not Dub. He struggled for sure. But like in this series, I have no notes. He had that one game where he just couldn't miss. He had like 34 in game four, I believe, and just he was hitting clutch, a clutch shot after clutch shot. Between how he played in this series, especially on the road, and how he played in Game 7 against Denver, um, I no longer worry much about him. I don't, and if he has a bad game, I don't think it's because the lights are too bright. I just think because let's be real, he doesn't have much of a bag.
Hmm.
He not a consistent bag. Once he improves on his like mid range shot, and look, he's playing with arguably the best mid range shooter in the league right now. So,
No, he is. I think Shea is definitely.
oh, I was talking about Aaron Wiggins, but
Oh,
no, but yeah, no Shea, yeah, yeah.
Aaron Wiggins.
Aaron Wiggins, no, he's good too. But
Yeah.
but he was great, man. Chet monster performances, especially in game four, I believe. I'm very happy. And the defense, this is like one of the best defenses I've look, actually, I'll take
Yeah.
it back. This is like number one in terms of that I've seen.
We've seen. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
It's
I
number one
literally
that I've
only
seen.
saw one possession. I think it was either against the Wolves or Nuggets where they played just the most insane, like perfect rotations, closeouts. I think they got a steal, but it was just I had never seen a defense move like that ever, bro.
Yeah.
Like that truly is what sets them apart is the fact that they can lock down anybody and they can put out a whole just lineup of crazy defenders who are all amazing at the perimeter, can shoot at the other end, and have Shea just run the offense is like insane. They're a cheat code. They are a cheat code for real. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
dude.
crazy.
I I'm happy, you know. So let's get into the finals since we're talking about OKC. This is the finals that nobody expected. People had a pretty good idea that OKC was going to make it, but Indiana, that was pretty
Yeah,
unexpected.
nah.
What do you have to say to the people that think this is the NBA finals that nobody's going to watch, or like it's not actually going to be good, or just like stuff like, because I've seen a lot of talks like that, and I have an opinion on it, even just not as a Thunder fan. But what is your take on that?
Well, the casuals aren't gonna watch, but I don't. The real fans, this is the finals that the real fans wanted. And I don't say that in a condescending way. I mean it truthfully, because the truth is, to somebody who's casually into ball or casually into the NBA, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I wanted to see the Knicks. I wanted to see the Knicks." But realistically, I knew this would be the fun series. This is gonna be an actual really fun game of basketball. I think it's gonna be really good chess. It's gonna be like a chess match. You got the best offense and you got the best defense. You got two young star-studded point guards. You got a great supporting cast on both sides. It's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be close, maybe not, but it's gonna be fun. And if you're not gonna watch it, I guess so. But I mean, I don't really care because, like I said, I know this is gonna be the one I wanted to watch.
Yeah.
And a lot of fans I know that are more into basketball are gonna agree with me.
Yeah. No, first of all, I think people are lying when they say, "Oh, I'm not watching this." Yes, you
Oh,
are.
100%,
It's the
100%.
NBA
They
finals.
do be lying too.
You're watching
They be
this.
lying too.
You're not just gonna not watch the finals. I could see you maybe not watching every game. Like if OKC or like even Indiana is up like 3-0, I don't expect you to watch that last game. But like let's be real. Like you're gonna watch it. You're just lying. So I I don't get like I understand why there, like you said, there are casual fans that are saying, "Oh, this isn't going to be, like, oh, no one's going to watch this." First of all, I don't know why you care about ratings to begin with.
That's also
That's
true.
not our job. We don't have to care about
Yeah.
ratings. That's Adam Silver's job.
Or
And I think this is actually a great opportunity for both Shea and Halliburton to really break out as one of the new faces of the league. And the reason
hmm
why I say this is because the timing of this couldn't be any perfect. LeBron is probably on his way. Well, he's on his way out. We don't know when. Curry's on his way out at some point. Kevin Durant's on his way out at some point. A lot of the guys that we grew up watching are either already out or on their way out. So
yeah,
this is their chance to like really show like, hey, like we got next. And I think this is a great opportunity for both players and both teams to really like assert themselves.
absolutely.
But I think my prediction, not I'm not gonna give my actual like one yet, but I think it's not gonna be a long series because like every stat kind of supports almost every stat kind of supports that OKC will actually win this. I don't think it's going to be a long series. I do think it's going to be a competitive and just really enjoyable and fun series.
hmm
That's my thing.
Definitely.
We're gonna pull up the stats real quick. I know you're usually the stat guy, but I'm gonna be the stat guy for
You beat me
today.
to it, Mr. OKC.
Yeah, well, as my team, I got it. So yeah, I pulled up. I actually, I found this on Reddit, and it has all of the stats for like both teams, like so far in the playoffs. A lot of these are pretty close. Some of these are not very close. OKC has the third ranked offense in these playoffs, and Indiana is number two. I don't know who number one is. Maybe it was the Knicks or something. Probably not the Knicks actually. But I don't know who number one was.
Probably the Celtics just because of the Orlando series. They were
Yeah, and they didn't play as long, so maybe
yeah.
it didn't have the chance to like even out. But Now in terms of defense, this is where OKC like really shines. No
Of
shocker
course.
here. They're number one. Indiana is ninth in the playoffs, which is not great considering how many teams made the playoffs. Well, like
16, I think.
16.
Yeah, so
So
they're
it's
pretty
not
average playoff wise.
it's pretty average. I saw this stat the other day. I don't know the exact numbers, but Shea this year, and again, it's the regular season matchup. It doesn't always mean anything. But like Shea this year is averaging like almost 40 against Indiana. Halliburton, I think, is averaging 14 against OKC. I don't want to get that wrong, but I believe that is the stat for it. So while I look this up, I will share another stat in 3 seconds. Okay. Their net rating, OKC is number two. Um, Indiana is number four. Um, Offensive rebounding, neither teams are great. OKC is 11th, and Indiana is actually dead last. Um, Indiana is a slightly better defensive rebounding team. Um, Interesting enough, you would think okay or Indiana would be higher than OKC when it comes to pace, but OKC is actually over them, not by much, but they're number two and Indiana is number three. And this is actually one of the interesting things that I think is going to make this series actually extremely fun, is because of the fact that they're both very quick.
Oh
Low
yeah.
key, I was thinking like each team is each other's like kryptonite. I'm If you're just like a casual watcher, you should be happy that they're facing Indiana and not like New York, because we destroy teams like New York that are on the slower
Mhm.
side, that like the things we would have done to Cat.
Oh yeah, Chet and somehow Caruso now. Oh my God.
He would have
That would have
been
been
foul,
yeah.
foul. Oh my
And
God.
yeah, I
Foul.
mean
That's what he would have been doing, like each time, you know.
pick and
And
roll, Chet and freaking Shea and yeah, no, that's sheesh. Look
I
at
think
Shea.
OKC really is the perfect team to keep up with Indiana's offense, and I think Indiana
Yeah.
is the perfect team to keep up like with their like defense. I think it's a great matchup. It really is. Um, Now the biggest difference between the two teams, and the thing that I'm worried about the most, is 3-point percentage. Now OKC has made it to the finals, which is great, but they have been shooting poorly for the most part. They are 13th in 3-point percentage at 33.6. Indiana is shooting 40% from three. They're number one. And OKC, as great as the defensive team as they are, they, for whatever reason, love giving up those corner threes. It also doesn't help that although Mark Daigneault is a great coach, he's a smart guy for the most part. Rick Carlisle, I think, one of the more underrated coaches of all time.
Yeah.
You can see it in the Knicks series. Tibbs was just getting out coached,
He is being
which is
still picking them
actually
apart.
another reason why I think that like getting rid of Tibbs like was a good call, because I think in almost every series in the East Coast, he's probably going to be out coached. I Offensively at least.
Yeah.
Um, and OKC is first in steals. Indiana is eighth. There's some other meaningless like stats in here, and a few of these are pretty close. Like they're tied in blocks. Um, but yeah, the 3-point thing, I'm a little nervous about. They got some true people on there that are just absolute torches from three, you know. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this series? Don't give your prediction yet, but are there any
Mhm.
things that you think are is going to make the series interesting, and do you think there's anything that will make the series not so interesting on both sides?
I think we've said it all. Yeah, I think we've said it all really.
Okay.
This is gonna be a fun one for sure.
Yeah.
Gonna be a fun one. Not a
Yeah.
close one though.
I
Not a close one.
I'm Before I give my prediction, I will say this one thing. I always said that if OKC made the finals and lost to the Celtics, I wouldn't be mad. They're they were the reigning champs. I'm not going to be mad at that. If we lost to Cleveland, I'd be a little more upset, but they're also a great team.
They won 60 games.
We're playing Indiana though. I expect to win the series. If they
Yes,
don't, I'm not wearing this hoodie out in public for
I
a very
totally
long time.
understand. I totally understand that.
So, with all that being said, I'll let you give your prediction first.
OKC in five.
Oh man,
OKC in five.
we weren't synced up with the
See.
with like the glasses thing.
Oh, dang.
It's all good. That's about mine too.
OKC in five. It's funny because I saw earlier, I was watching, thinking, like First Take or whatever, NBA Today earlier, just because there's nothing else on YouTube TV at work. And there was like trying to be nice, like, oh, I want to be nice to respect the Pacers. I respect the Pacers. I have a lot of respect for the Pacers,
Mm-hmm.
but OKC is a different animal.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna lie. OKC is an animal on both sides of the floor.
That's fair.
OKC in five.
That's fair. Yeah, that's mine. That's my prediction. I do have OKC in five. I don't mean to belittle Indiana.
No, not at all.
I don't think it's going to be a sweep, and I expect it to be a competitive series. There's always and I don't know if you've noticed this as well. I'm pretty sure you have. In every single playoff series, there is that one random blowout in every single series. There
Yeah,
is I remember like in last year's finals, the Mavs beat Celtics by
like
like
30 something,
30
right?
something points.
Yeah, I remember that.
Why? I don't know. It's just like they followed the rules. There's always that random blowout. I can't think of a series
Some
that's happened
some
recently where that hasn't
some
been the case.
presume that it's because they want to win at home, so they lose one on the road.
You know, and I
I don't know how true that is. I don't know if NBA players would willingly lose a game when they can close it out just to win at home, but I am not an NBA player, so I can't really say.
I don't think NBA players do that. I do think that generally teams usually win that like first game back at their arena if they don't have home court, just because you kind of have to. Like,
Hmm.
um, I yeah, but I don't think it's going to be a sweep, but I do expect it to be a very competitive series. There's going to be a couple games that'll come down to the wire. And I don't want people to, I don't know, like see that and then like discredit OKC. Um, the Pacers are a historically good offensive team,
Hmm.
historically good. OKC is a historically good defensive team. So it
With the
just
MVP.
with the MVP. I do think that there's no answer for Shea in Indiana.
Mhm.
We have a lot more answers for Tyrese. He might. There are times where he's not going to be able to even dribble. I'm gonna be real. And I like Halliburton. I'm not. It's no disrespect. It's true.
Hey man, J Dub Caruso double team. That brother's not finding nobody outside that double team.
Nope.
No way. No way.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, as a OKC fan, I expect. I know they've put Lou Dort on Halliburton during the regular season matchups. I do think the quicker guards, you know, like Case and Wallace, are probably better for Halliburton just because they can move, you know,
With
faster
him,
with
yeah.
them. Caruso would be another example of that.
You're moving.
But we had got options. We got
Yeah.
options,
It's
dude.
just
You could put Shea on Halliburton, and it's not even that bad.
yeah.
You can't like say the same like for New York. So I
Yeah.
prefer if Shea was just, you know, staying on the offensive things, but yeah, there's just too many options.
Sorry, Indiana. Hopefully Caitlin Clark comes back healthy.
Yeah, that's like their only hope for no, I'm playing. Let me show. Um, do you expect Indiana to go back to at least the conference finals next year?
Next year.
Yeah.
Hmm. I think so, definitely. Um, I feel like their series with the Cavs was a little not. It doesn't have an asterisk, but I definitely feel like the Cavs' health didn't help them, considering what Garland, Mobley, and Hunter were all like game time decisions slash hurt through like the whole series. And that's literally what the defensive player of the year, your second offensive option, and then your six man. Like those aren't the little pieces. Those are pretty major pieces. But I think that'll be their only threat. The Celtics are probably the Celtics gonna do some retooling this offseason. I don't think they're gonna tank, but I don't think they're gonna be a threat necessarily as much as they have been.
Yeah.
As much as people wanted to downplay Jason Tatum, they don't win without Jason Tatum. So I definitely think they can get to the conference finals next year.
All right. Before we go, let's do a couple hypotheticals. Okay. I want your opinions on this. Let's say Indiana wins. Pascal wins finals MVP and his second ring. Are there talks for him to be a Hall of Famer? And if not, what else would he have to do in order to be at least, like a second ballot Hall of Famer?
For Pascal to be a Hall of Famer,
Because
I
I can
definitely
pull up
think he'd have to.
his
Yeah,
resume
pull up
right
his
now.
resume
So
actually.
I spelled his name wrong. But NBA champion, three-time All Star, two-time All NBA, and then most improved.
I definitely think he's gonna get maybe a few more All NBAs to get to the Hall of Fame. Not even in general. I feel like I feel like Hall of Famers should be players who were a top echelon player for a good amount of time. And a good amount of time, I would say, would be about a prime of like 7 to 8 years,
I agree.
to where you're undoubtedly maybe a top 10 to 15 player in the league. You do that for a bunch of years. I'm not a person who cares about rings because it's a team sport. So not every great player is going to get a ring. So I don't hold that against players. But I think that if Pascal can get a few more All NBAs, a few more All Stars, if he wins a ring now, he can be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay. Let's say Halliburton wins a ring and finals MVP. Is he the undisputed greatest pacer of all time?
No.
Really? A ring and
Would he?
finals MVP. He's over like it's between like Reggie Miller
Reggie Miller and
and
him,
Paul George, but
none of them got that far.
like Miller has an appearance in the finals, I believe.
He
Um
does.
yeah, he has one. So
I think
Halliburton
they
would have
lost.
one
I
and
think
then
they lost to the
oh,
Lakers. Did they lose to the Lakers when they made it to the finals?
I'll look it up.
I think that was when the Lakers three-peat started. I think.
Yeah,
Was it the Rock? Yeah. Okay.
his Lakers. Oh,
Dang.
he played horrible in game one. Wow.
It's just so early. My thing is, it's so early. It's so early in his career. But I guess, yeah. You know what?
I feel like he has to be.
Really, really, when you think of, yeah, when I think about it, he has to be. Even it being this early, he has to be the greatest pacer of all time. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then last one, let's say that Shea wins a ring and wins Finals MVP on top of his actual MVP and the scoring champion this year, I believe he was. Um, who is he above all time? So I'll throw out a couple names. Jason Tatum,
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie,
So, favorite players.
because you're a Kyrie guy.
Yeah, I'd say one of my favorite players, but as much as it hurts me, I'm gonna have to say yeah.
All right. Allen Iverson.
No, I can't. No, I can't go that far just yet. I know AI don't got a ring. Like I said, I'm not that big into ring culture. Rings do matter, but Allen Iverson consistently definitely play with mediocre teams. and he still was able to get one finals appearance in a game on the Lakers. The only game they lost in the playoffs that year. And he was consistently I can't put him over AI. I can't.
Okay. Do you think there's a world where he does rank over AI by the time his career is
Yeah,
in?
no,
Okay.
definitely he can definitely rank over AI if he like 2, 3 more years of this and he's over AI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carmelo Anthony.
And I goes to the person I think is the most overrated player ever.
Oh. Oh yeah,
But
I forgot you don't like Melo. Yeah.
as much as I think Melo is overrated, Shea would not be over him all time just yet.
I think Melo just played. He has more years on him. It's not a thing
Yeah,
where he's just
yeah.
comfortably. I saw one person say like Derrick Rose. Yes, he's easily
He's
above
over
Derrick
there.
Rose all time.
He's already above D Rose.
Derrick Rose is like,
As much as
yeah,
there isn't a single D Rose hater that is a basketball fan. I love D Rose,
yeah.
but unfortunately, his prime was only like 3 years. So
Mm.
that's just a sad part.
And then lastly, let's say he wins a ring and Finals MVP, scoring champion, and actual MVP. Is he above Harden all time?
No,
Do you think there's a
Harden,
world where he's over Harden all time?
he can, he can. Like I said, he has to keep going at this pace. Harden was putting out numbers like this for like 6 years, bro.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
Harden is a top 5 shooting guard.
I agree.
So he still got a ways to go, even if Harden don't got a ring.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I appreciate your insight on that. I agree with I think everything you said. I think there was one I disagreed with. Who
Yeah, AI.
who'd you say? Yeah, I think like AI had the longer career, obviously. I like in terms of am I putting AI like AI is a top five, top six, shooting guard slash point guard, whatever you want to call it. I don't think he's
Mm-hmm.
a top like point guard, but like shooting guard, if you count him as shooting guard, he's there. Do I think that Shea is over him in that list? No. Do I think that he could end up in that list? Yes. Do I think that there's an argument that like Shea now is the more complete player than AI
Oh yeah,
was?
absolutely.
I think there is truth to that. But I also have the ultimate excuse to be an Allen Iverson hater because I
Oh, here
saw
we go.
him
Here we
at,
go.
at my local mall, refused to talk to me. And
Here we
so
go.
you know what? Yeah, I would say Shay's over AI right now.
I immediately knew it.
AI
I
is
immediately knew he was gonna bring up this story right
AI is
after he
not
mentioned
even
he's
top
AI hater.
20. Okay, he's not even top 80. Get him out of here. No, I'm playing. Shout out AI.
The unc's gonna come at you for that one.
Practice. All right.
The
Anywho,
unc's gonna they're gonna come with you for that one, bro. The unc's hold Allen Iverson on a pedestal to this day.
that's fine.
To this day.
Because you know what? My team might get one of these this season. I mean, this is a Blue
Ah,
Lantern
ah,
ring,
ah,
so it's not an actual ring,
ah.
but might get one of these. If you enjoyed this episode of the Two
Couldn't
for
give an
One,
answer to that. Get it?
very good, very good. I don't even mess with AI. I prefer real art. Okay. If you enjoyed this
I
episode,
had a better one.
if you enjoyed this episode of the Two for One podcast, make sure you like and subscribe for more. We're gonna do an episode after everything is over with. I really think the future of the Boston Celtics is very interesting. I do want to discuss it. So until then, Jordani, do you have any last words of wisdom? You want to know
Don't
what?
do drugs.
Don't do drugs. Don't be Ty Lawson. You know what I want to start doing? Let's start ending episodes of the podcast with you just doing like a random NBA role player, like for the day. So the
Hmm.
floor is yours. You got to say within 5 seconds.
Aaron Ilyasova.
Ilya Silva. There you go. All right. We are out of
He's
here.
pretty random,
See
right?
you guys. He's
Yeah, he's
pretty
pretty random.
random.
He's pretty random.
I will see you guys next time.